Sri K.N. Vyas. Sri K.N. Vyas, former Secretary, Department of Atomic Energy and Chairman of Atomic Energy Commission. Thank you so much. Vyas Sahab, you've been a friend of the forum, Vision India Forum, and its journey in this Amrit Kal series of important subjects being covered almost 7 to 8 of them every month over the last 6-7 years. And I chose the topic with your concurrence about nuclear energy being India's magic pill in the years to come. There are many issues related to the subject. You are the flag bearer of this particular sector, one of the flag bearers, something which was initiated by doyens of your sector years back with the political patronage. We should not forget the contributions of all the honorable prime ministers who have contributed during their era to ensure that India today stands where it is, and there is a long way to go. Something which has been echoed, patronized, supported, and the way forward has been suggested by the Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Bhai Damodar Das Modi ji, in his Independence Day speech this particular year on the 15th of August, wherein he also invited the private participants to join the bandwagon of India's journey in nuclear energy to make India a global powerhouse and one of the superpowers globally. There are many angles, many facets, many aspects to be discussed, but I will start to requesting you to first of all start with your journey into this space as to how and what made you venture into this atomic energy and nuclear space. What is atomic energy? What is nuclear energy? What is the difference? How important it is? What is your background? Because you are not a typical IAS officer who headed the secretary level position there. What made you reach this particular position? And what was your experience like handling this so important ministry of DAE under the Prime Minister's office? Over to you, Shri K.N. Vyas ji.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Goenka, for your kind words. See, basically the background is I am a mechanical engineer, and after joining BRC, I had opportunity to work with design and development of few of the reactor systems. Now, so far as atomic energy or nuclear energy is concerned, I must re-emphasize an aspect which is really known to you. That is, so far as atomic energy is concerned, we have been having lots of indigenous efforts. And today, when Nuclear Power Corporation of India Limited makes a nuclear power plant, more than 95% pressurized heavy water reactor, more than 95% is indigenous. So this is one of the key aspects so far as you can say India's nuclear program is concerned. Second aspect is our leaders, they chose pressurized heavy water reactors primarily due to the fact that it is one of the most efficient burner of fuel. And this is additional reason as to why if you use pressurized heavy water reactors, the utilization of thorium becomes little more feasible apart from other type of reactor systems. Now, coming to additional aspect, I would somehow like to differ with the title of the talk which you are trying to give, that is that magic pill. What I would like to say here is that nuclear energy needs certain type of discipline, and like any high-end technology, it needs certain type of discipline. So in my opinion, it is not going to happen that all of a sudden we will have a set of trained personnel who are able to construct and operate nuclear power stations in a very easy manner. There will be a slow learning curve, and it is very good that the government is now considering that private industry should enter into this particular field. What we need is more and more number of persons who have the knowledge of nuclear technology, and as a result of which more number of nuclear power stations it will be possible for say the country to have. Like you might have already known that NTPC and NPCIL have done a collaboration, and what I understand is at Mahi Banswara, the joint venture work has just initiated. So it is good that the way the persons who are expert in field of thermal power station, they are also entering this particular field, and very fast, I'm sure they will be in a position to make their own reactors independently. Over to you.
I would have come to this aspect of the public sector companies taking the first mover advantage, to my knowledge, in the form of NTPC and NPCIL's joint venture, which has been initiated with the flagging of the 41,000 crore nuclear power project in Bhaswara, Rajasthan. But before that, what has been the history and the backdrop of this entire nuclear power, from the times of the great Homi Bhabha as the first secretary of the commission, and Jawaharlal Nehruji's initiatives. Then we had the Raja Ramanand era, wherein the first nuclear power tests were conducted during Indira Gandhiji's regime. And then we had the great Kalam Saab and Vajpayee ji's, pair, which that was an era, and I'm sure you have been privy to at least the early 2000 eras of this particular, India's growth story in the nuclear space. So kindly, sir, take us through this 2-3 important phases of India's nuclear history.
See, basically, when India obtained independence, it was Dr. Bhabha and courage to sort of feel that India has this particular capability. There are enough scientists in India. Already, Sir C.V. Raman was there, who was a Nobel laureate, and he had mentored both Dr. Bhabha and Dr. Sarabhai to some extent. So it is, I would say, great thinking on part of Dr. Bhabha, that he thought that India has the capability to do that. He even felt that's the right as early as 1957, before or around the time when the first research reactor was Apsara reactor was made. He felt that it needs special type of training, and then he started the BRC training school, which is taking I would say good engineers and scientists, and then giving them a training in the field of nuclear science and technology. So we have started this activity in mid 50s, and then it has been consistently going on, and there have been we had the opportunity to have among the greatest of the leaders, and who are, I would say, most focused and most thorough in their approach so far as any technical work is concerned. So this has helped in, as I mentioned earlier, this has helped in India having indigenous capability. We don't have to really import many of the equipment. Many of the private industry has been encouraged by NPCIL and Department of Atomic Energy, different units, that they have the capability to manufacture something which is first of its type. Now, let us try to concentrate primarily on the nuclear power generation. See, basically, I must say that there is some bias, because I have spent all my life in working in the Department of Atomic Energy. So I personally have, certainly I would say, little bit of bias is there. What all of us working in DAE feel is that solar, wind are really very good. They are renewable sources of power. However, they are intermittent, and as a result of that, to some extent, unpredictable. And in addition to that, then you need large land mass for this. Now, Government of India, when they have given the net zero sort of call that by 2070 we will reach net zero for base load, if we have to depend on renewables, it may not be a very let's say it may not be a very most optimum or very good solution, not necessarily the best solution. And that is why Government of India recently, they have said, as you already know, in the last budget, that they are putting thrust on development of nuclear power station, and let us hope that the initiative which is taken, it is taken forward by all the people of India, and then it finds favor with everyone, all of us. Over to you.
Which is more sustainable? Renewable source of energy like solar, water, wind, or would it be the nuclear? Because nuclear, according to my limited zero knowledge, literally, is the cleanest form of energy available. And India has only 3% of its power generated through this cleanest form of energy. So, but the entire focus seems to be over the last 10 years, tilted towards the renewable, new and renewable source of energy. People also are telling me if it is new, it's like shooting in the dark. And nuclear, how do you compare nuclear vis-a-vis renewables?
See, renewables are also a very good source of energy, but then let us say our potential is certainly higher for solar as compared to wind. So we should concentrate on solar, and that is what we have been doing. Now, take a case like monsoon, where it may not rain, but it may remain cloudy for days together. Now, at that stage, you may think of having batteries, but how much should be the battery capacity? Now, these are the questions which the planners of Niti Aayog and in government, they might have sort of tried to understand that fine, we can have storage, solar with storage, but during several months in a year, when you are not guaranteed about the sunlight, at that time, how will you run industries? Your information technology center may, over a period, is going to need to operate large data center. Government of India is trying to set up supercomputers all over the country in educational institutes and various locations. Now, at that time, how do you really sort of operate? So you need what we call base load, which you also understand. Now, base load, if you have to make it, base load can be made using thermal power station. But if at all you have to go for net zero, in that case, nuclear is the thing where when it is operating, it is not generating any carbon dioxide. So it is a what you have said, I'm just trying to re-emphasize that it is a sort of the cleanest and most concentrated form of energy. And we have to explore. I'm not telling that we should have nuclear in place of solar or wind. Certainly not. That is that India is so much deficient in energy. Our total per capita consumption of electricity is relatively so low. So any power available from anywhere, it is a good thing to have. So that is what is going to improve our living standards. Over to you.
Sir, what was the reason why we procrastinated the engagement and involvement as a layman of more such players over the last few decades? Because today, when we face a lot of pressure for carbon emissions, carbon footprint, there are so many trade barriers and restrictions, export restrictions, and suddenly people have woken up to the cause of having a sustainable world. And 2030, India has already got a target which it is lagging. Today, suddenly we all wake up to the 2017 net zero targets, 2030 targets of power generation. At the same time, we are also talking about the huge unutilized, inexhaustible, literally kind of situations with respect to the fossil fuels and the utilization and extraction or production of coal, which again is something which is simultaneously going on. How do you think India, first of all, why was it delayed so much? And secondly, how do you think a balance can be struck in a country like India? Because India is India. China has got similar problems, but they've got very different solutions to everything. So now, how do you think we can balance this sustainability versus non-sustainability?
Mr. Goenka, you must realize I'm not an energy expert. I'm just an average mechanical engineer who has worked for about 35-40 years in Department of Atomic Energy. What I feel, why it has not happened, I can only give a conjecture. Nuclear power stations, as a rule, are more expensive because of the safety concerns which are there for radioactivity. Now, that helps in the reliability of the system has to be better. You have to have defense in depth, and that makes the nuclear power station expensive. Now, reliability of the system helps in making nuclear power plants operate for a long period. But when you are an investor and you want return on investment as early as possible, this may not have been liked by you can say so many of the industries. So you would want your return on investment in 10 years time. Now, if the capital investment is very large and if the cost of money is too large, obviously you cannot get it very fast unless you make electricity to be too expensive, and which you may not be in a position to sell. So this is only my conjecture. I am nobody to understand why the planning happened in such a way. But I would say that an individual will say that within the cost of 700 megawatt nuclear power station, I can make 1200 megawatt thermal power station, and it is going to give me a return of investment much faster. So that will be the it is pure economics.
Okay.
That
Now the
is my
private players.
perception. This question should be asked to a very competent persons like Sarath sir, or I mean they are the people who are in the Niti Aayog who have a much balanced view of I would say the overall country's needs. I understand only to some extent little bit of reactor engineering and some of the I would say advantages and disadvantages of nuclear power station. Over to you, please.
Private sectors have been working with NPCIL, organizations like NPCIL, Bhavini and all for quite some time. Tata Power, L&T, these are some names which come to my mind. Now, BHEL, for example, is a public sector company which works in the space of supporting such infrastructure creations. Now, do you think that companies in the private sector in India over the last few decades have been able to do justice to nuclear power projects? And in the future, what is the way forward? What is your suggestion for them?
See, as I told right in the beginning that for so far as Indian pressurized heavy water reactors are concerned, more than 95% of items are made in India. Now, this is made by firms like BHEL, Larsen and Toubro, Walchanagar Industry. I'm just telling the names which comes to my mind. I mean, this list is very, very long, and it is the NPCIL person who will tell which all are the firms. Similarly, for construction, companies like Gammon India, Hindustan Construction, L&T Construction, they have done the complex construction of reactor building and so on. So all I'm trying to tell is big, small, there are large number of set of firms which are part of supply chain for so far as pressurized heavy water reactors are concerned. Similarly, control systems are you can say designed and made by ECIL. Now there is company like BHEL also, they have also started providing making the very complex control system integration as well as it's available. I mean, it's basically giving it to NPCIL. So what I'm trying to tell you, in all those plants, just to give an example, Kaiga Atomic Power Station, it completed 962 days of uninterrupted run at 93% capacity factor. At that time, it was a world record. Now that has been, you can imagine 962 days, it continuously plant operated.
Which plant?
Kaiga generating station, KGS1. So, unless the Indian suppliers are giving reliable equipment, unless NPCIL is able to operate in a very systematic and methodical manner, this would not have been achieved. And this is one of its type. But there are so many plants of NPCIL which has continuously operated for a period of more than 1 year and sometimes more than 2 years. But record is 962 days so far as NPCIL is concerned as of now. And it was a world record when it was completed, I think, on 31st December. Plant was in a very good shape. But because of regulatory inspection requirement, NPCIL shut down the plant. It was, I think, 31st December 2018. I could be slightly mistaken with the dates, but that was the time. So all I'm trying to tell is Indian industry is capable. so far as making of the equipments are concerned. Now, second thing is, so far, nobody in private has operated nuclear power station. So that is what government is now trying to encourage and see whether people would like to come into this aspect also.
So what is the difference between a nuclear energy and atomic energy? It's a very layman.
No, it is same. Earlier, people were calling it atomic energy. That is why it is US, also US AEC. Same way it was Indian Atomic Energy Commission. So earlier it used to be called atomic energy. Then gradually people started that atom is a molecule, something like that. While nucleus is a that जो नाभि बोलते हैं वो है. So gradually people shifted to nuclear power and so on.
Because it's all about the bifurcation of the nucleus and the fusion of the nucleus, which causes the energy to be produced. Now, this energy has both aspects of power as well as power games. Now, when I talk about power games in terms of the nuclear, kind of, I was just reading an edition of a very important magazine just a couple of days back, wherein after the attack in Pahalgam, there was a lot of, rope pulling, tug of war between India and Pakistan for the nuclear thing.
You are asking this question to a wrong person.
Okay. I will now take you to another small segment of our discussion. Atomic Energy Commission or the Department of Energy has a lot of bifurcations. For example, if I start with the regulatory board, you've got an Atomic Energy Regulatory Board. I will talk to you about some key institutions under your department, because this is a kind of interaction people will also learn from this. So what are, for example, directorate, what is the role of the directorate? And it was formed almost 30 years after the formation of the ministry.
Now see, it is like this. Atomic Energy Regulatory Board is not part of Department of Atomic Energy. They are independent. Only funds is routed via atomic energy. Now, the function that was being done, so far as AERB is concerned, it was done within department. But then the planners they felt that it is better to give them complete independence. So basically, AERB's function is to regulate even the radioactive sources in hospitals and even X-ray machines and CT scan machines and so on, which has really nothing to do with atomic energy per se, what DAE does. So Atomic Energy Regulatory Board its prime purpose is public should not unnecessarily get any radiation dose which is prescribed beyond a specific limit. And in case if that happens, they would look into that case and then try to see what is the corrective action. So this is very simply put. That mandate is very large. If you go to their website, you will realize. But very simply put, I am trying to tell about Atomic Energy Regulatory Board. So AERB is not really part of, it is not a unit under DAE. While Bhabha Atomic Research Center is a unit under DAE, ECIL is a corporation under DAE, NPCIL.
I'll come to that. R&D sector, there is BAR, there is this Atomic Minerals Directorate, Hyderabad. We have.
I think not, once again, Mr. Goenka, let us not go into this. There are about 30 different units. Some of them are involved in education, some of them involved in manufacturing, some of them involved in R&D, what you started with. So it's I will not be able to complete the list. I will forget 3-4 names. That's why.
No, I will just probably touch upon 3-4 of them. Like, what is the role of these R&D activity centers like BARC, BECC, Saha Institute of Nuclear Physics? These are various institutions which are related to each other, but part of the DAE.
See, basically, if you concentrate all the types of activities at one place, the size will be unmanageable, both administration-wise as well as even, let us say, you can say the scientific, say, monitoring-wise. So you mentioned VECC, Variable Energy Cyclotron Center. So VECC, as the name implies, they are, I would say, expert in understanding the cyclotrons purposes, cyclotrons will help research in, you can say, nuclear physics and other physics related studies. So their concentration is work related to cyclotrons. That is how to operate cyclotron, how to design new cyclotrons, and so on. Now, Saha Institute of Nuclear Physics is just adjacent to them, but it is more like an educational institution wherein they specialize in the field of nuclear physics, but in addition to that, they do do provide education in even in the fields like diverse field like biology also. So see, all these sciences, they have some overlap. There is no sort of a boundary that this is biology and this is not physics. Ultimately, when you sort of going further and further depth, so there is nothing like that. This is chemistry and this is not biology. This is physics, not chemistry, and so on. So SINP is a educational institute which takes students and gives them doctorate. There are large number of experimental facilities which students can utilize, and then ultimately these students sort of enrich both academic institutes of India as well as various R&D wherever necessary.
What is the?
Yeah,
I understand.
please.
I understand. We are not willing to have a kind of a academic session with you. We just try to touch upon various things.
Yeah.
So what is the role of rare mineral? Because today the rare mineral policies have come out. There is a lot of talk around mining on the rare minerals front. Everybody is jumping into this space. People into the fossil fuel space. Suddenly, just like nuclear energy, that has become another area which people are focusing upon as a brownie point to be gathered politically or whatever, if I may put so. Mark, please excuse my words, but at the end of the day, uranium, to my limited knowledge,
No, Mr. Goenka, let us keep the general topic because I am not expert in politics or even in public administration. I am just, as I keep repeating, I am just an average mechanical engineer who is trying to do.
Role of rare minerals in India's position with respect to nuclear energy.
See, so far as rare earths are concerned, some of the rare earths are useful in nuclear industry. Say, for example, gadolinium, or I'm just giving you few random things. So now, Department of Atomic Energy had an institute, what you call Indian Rare Earths Limited. Now, this Indian Rare Earths Limited was tasked with extracting some of the minerals which are necessary for atomic energy related activities. Now, we must realize that rare earths is one part wherein they are very critical minerals, but unless you have the complete manufacturing, like what will I do with one single rare earth magnet? Okay, unless I put it in an electrical motor. Okay, and it gives me very high, much superior electrical efficiency. So what is happening is rare earths are becoming premium because the availability of rare earths is not high. And it is good Indian industry is feeling, but that we should enter into rare earth. But if we just mine rare earth and concentrate those rare earth, you can say ore, so that the quantity of rare earth becomes higher and export, in my opinion, India may not benefit so much. So it is like this. Very crudely speaking, we may have large amount of coal, but if we are not mining the coal and producing electricity for ourselves and just exporting, it has less advantage compared to mining the coal or mining the steel, making steel ourselves, making alloys ourselves, and then exporting. If we just export ore, so this is how I look at it. It is good. Rare earth sector should get should be open to whatever government feels like. But if it is only exporting the ore and or concentrate, it is not going to be as much advantage to us as we, if at all we start making magnets here ourselves within India. So this is my sort of understanding. however right or wrong.
Countries like France, countries like France.
You're asking a wrong person.
Huh?
You are asking a wrong question to a wrong person.
I'm just if I'm just saying generally,
I,
countries which are developed, they have used.
Mr. Goenka, I do not understand anything beyond BRC or DAE.
Okay. Now, BRC and DAE, did you have foreign collaborations?
I am an executor of the policy. If government asks me, I will try to do to the best of my knowledge.
Under your chairmanship, and during the time you were secretary,
yeah.
What were the foreign collaborations or technical collaborations which you people probably you can speak about, and what are the benefits India is reaping out of them?
You see, science is one thing where if I put myself in a closet, I will not be able to. Very few people are geniuses like, say, Professor Albert Einstein, who are able to visualize the aspects of science. So generally, advantage of science is you collaborate with people, you talk to your other counterparts who may be much more capable than you, or they may have more facilities. Now, it is not during my time. This has started right from Kakodkar sir's time. Means they are all long drawn projects. So, for example, there was a collaboration between USA and India as a part of Fermilab collaboration, where uh, uh, the idea was to develop some of the components for proton beam acceleration. And there was a collaboration, scientists within India. When I say within India, it is VECC, RRCAT, BRC, all those institutes put together who understand the science related to accelerators and so on. So they made designs. Those designs were sort of, you can say, discussed with the experts in USA. And then Indian industry made those components, and those components were found to be working very satisfactorily. So these are all what you call typically mega science projects. So another similar mega science project is related to with Germany also. In that India has played a relatively smaller role. There is a facility called FAIR in Germany. So there also Indian scientists have participated. So I'm not trying to tell that all these collaborative projects we have contributed, say, very, very significantly. I'm not trying to tell that more than 80% we have given. But when you participate in this type of projects, your scientists get wider exposure, and their self-confidence also increases when sort of an item designed by them and manufactured within India works satisfactory. It gives you a good amount of self-confidence.
Skill development wise, we're coming towards the last 4-5 minutes.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Last 4-5 minutes of our discussion, because I promised 25 minutes. We're already 35 minutes now.
Yeah.
So I would not waste your more time, sir.
Maybe we can stop then.
From a skill development perspective, from an education perspective, skill development and R&D perspective, what are your suggestions to India and to the government of India?
I have no suggestions. I must repeat that I am an average worker. I am not a policy maker. So what I personally feel is, for skill development, most important, whether it is nuclear energy, whether it is Department of Science, anything, we have to have good discipline. If I have a skill, but if I am not disciplined enough, it is not going to be good enough. So government of India has to decide which are the areas in which skill is necessary, and in addition to imparting skill, a discipline also should form an integral part of it. This is what I personally feel.
No, I only meant skilling, education, R&D in the nuclear space, because we lack resources.
No, so see, basically, people have to really work on field. If somebody gives me 100-hour lecture that this is how you do, you can say, high quality control, but unless I see the PCs, some of them are defective, some of them are perfect. So skill development, this is going to be totally, it has to be totally practical area. And then as a part of specifically in nuclear, there is always a, before you start the work, there is a written down procedure. So one of the discipline is I don't start a work uh, just because I have got a machine or just because I have got a raw material. So there has to be a written down procedure. Once that written down procedure is there, it should be verified, it should be checked and approved by somebody. And when the worker goes to it, the person must, he or she must make sure that there are no deviations. Otherwise, what is the purpose of writing down something and not doing? See, I mean, I say crudely speaking, we have signals in the cities. What is the point in breaking a signal? Fine, okay, no accident takes place. But then somebody who is directing the traffic, he has made this rule that on red signal you have to stop. Fine, no vehicle may be coming, but you should stop. So this discipline is necessary. If there is a 2-page or 3-page written down procedure for doing some work, one must make sure that another procedure is followed. So this is what I mean by, that is how because see, ultimately work is done by not engineers or designers sitting in the office. Work is done on field by people who have got real skill set. When you are doing welding, your hand should not shake. You should be steady. So this is done by not people like me who is sitting in the office and may have intelligence, but then so skill, once it is imparted to people, it comes only by practice, and make sure that person doesn't become overconfident, so that unnecessary mistakes are not taking place.
In India, is NPCIL the central body which will help such collaborations like the one with NTPC? Because we have so many other, Coal India is there. We've got other companies into the hydropower space like NHPC. We've got companies like Naval Lignite Corporation in the south, near the Tamil Nadu areas and all that. So NPCIL, is it the central body to go to for such power generation plants?
See, it is like this. Okay, right now, only NPCI knows how to make nuclear power station and operate. So, it is like this. If you are the only person who understands how to make Microsoft, let us say, spreadsheet, I have to come to you. I mean, it is like this, no? And if you tell me that, no, I will not teach you, then that is a separate issue. Then you go to somebody abroad. So, as of now, see, NPCIL has been making reactors, means if not NPCIL at that time, it was Power Project Engineering Division. So since 1969, they know how to construct power stations and how to operate them.
What was the other name? What is the other name?
No, Power Project Engineering Division. This was the forerunner of NPCIL.
Okay.
So
see, this is what comes out. This is what comes. This historical aspect also comes out.
No. I mean, in DAE, everybody knows it. I mean, you may not know it, but in DAE, everybody knows that initially it was Power Project Engineering Division, and subsequently it became Nuclear Power Board, and then it became Nuclear Power Corporation of India Limited.
This interaction is for a lot of kind of people, and when we come towards the fag end of this discussion, now SMEs, MSMEs is India's backbone of the industry. How do you think more and more MSMEs could be roped in the years to come? And we don't have much time.
See, MSMEs can be roped in for supply of critical components. Many a times, organizations like BHEL or Larsen & Toubro, there are MSMEs which have got precision machines. And then ultimately, any high-tech item is going to need precision. So MSME, when I say more than 95% is made in India, it is even MSMEs. All companies, they would like to supply items within time. Now, if BHEL or L&T, they feel that this thing can be done better or equally good at this location, so they provide support to them. If at all I would say some enhancement of the facilities to be done or some tooling is to be done. This is done by larger companies. They provide inspection support and guidance also. And there are large number of MSMEs who are doing aspect related to machining and so on.
And finally, do you think that the kind of quality, standards required, because in nuclear is not any other industry, the quality aspect has to be very, 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 minutely monitored. Do we
No,
have the
certainly.
required standards in place?
Certainly, and some of them are really good professional engineers. Owners are themselves highly qualified people, so they understand when a specification is written or some tolerance is written, they fully understand and they make sure that it's also. And two stages, whosoever is giving them the contract like BHEL or Larsen & Toubro, and subsequently the QC of NPCIL. Certainly, I mean, there is no reason to doubt that MSMEs, they do slightly or marginally inferior quality work. They do as good a work as any big person.
You were secretary in the space of atomic energy. How do you think that the financial institutions have supported this particular sector?
Your voice is dropping.
How do you think
Mr.
you have been secretary in this sector? You have been secretary in this sector. How do you think the financial institutional space has been able to support this so important sector in the last few years?
No, once again, no opinion here. See, NPCIL, whenever they have needed funds, they have borrowed it from the banks and so on. So, whatever terms and conditions which are there, so far, I would say there have been supports, whatever that. But once again, this is not the subject for me to answer. I have no understanding of this.
And finally, from the Atomic Energy Space Ministry, what are the important 2-3 initiatives that you took, which you would like to talk about?
No, nothing. I tried to continue whatever my earlier, I would say, my mentors have and my mentors who said whatever they have done, I have tried to keep it on the same level to the best of my ability. So
I had spoken to you informally about the tendering process. We will end on this note. Do you think that we need a bit more thought process around it and more fine tuning with respect to such tendering processes like L1 to H1 or whatever in the nuclear space?
no, once again, see, there are some processes which have to be followed, and these are the directives from Government of India. There is no reason to deviate from this particular things. And like, say, for example, there should be a basis if I am rejecting an L1 tender. And there are processes which should be followed. Why I would say Department of Atomic Energy should be singled out. Even for construction of road, also the same thing would be applicable. So at this stage, I would not like to sort of make any mention about this thing. Whatever is the directive which is followed by each and every department in Government of India, there is no reason as to why any exception should be made without specific sort of reasons.
I think it's been put very succinctly and very rightly by you. And it is not political. It is not something which has been diplomatically answered. As far as I know you personally, I expected nothing better than this as an answer to close the discussion today. Thank you so much, Vyasa. Thorough gentleman.
Thank you very much.
A great representative of India's interest and India's march towards global leadership in the next 25 years. Thank you, Sri K. N. Vyas.
Thank you very much. Thank you.